Hello, everybody. This is Frogman, and welcome back to IXION or IXION or whatever we're going to call it. I know they say it in a few different ways, but anyhow, we're back. We're just right where we left off, where we sent a science ship over to the moon to do a little bit of well, the first little bit of questing that we're going to be doing. And I am going to say that I am starting this recording over from scratch at a certain point because I had an audio issue. So there is going to be a minor difference, and that's the fact that we're about 3 days ahead of schedule because I knew what I needed to build. And I don't think there's really much of anything interior-wise different as far as things are going. So we're slowly going to clean up some of the information, some of the stuff up in here. And, well, we're going to let that science ship do its work for a little bit. So let's kick her up to level 2 and start messing around while that does what it's supposed to do. We're kind of waiting on them to do a couple of things. So right now we need to resolve the moon event on the planetary system map, and in I guess a half a cycle or whatever this is, we will know more of what is going on. So you guys didn't miss much. We're pretty much right exactly where we were when we left off. I can probably, you know, close some of this stuff out because I had to start the game over because I lost the autosave.
The ship team has completed a task.
Because of, you know, the way things work. So let's do that. We'll get rid of our notifications. Let's see what we have to do over here. Alright, base has been dismantled. Although most of the equipment was damaged, we were able to prepare some usable resources for extraction. Yes, I'm more interested in the science than I was their stuff, so we'll get that going. Back to the station. So they're going to collect the science. Science ships are the ones that are allowed to collect the science for the various areas, but we need to be able to build a tech lab before we can pick things up. So let's get to work on that part. And I think the music is back up being loud again. All right, so we're back inside here. There's a couple of things we still need to do, one of which is we need to build some kind of health, and that is a definite problem. Hello, emails. I'm glad you could tell me you were there. I need to shut that off so we can record today. Right now, we have the little bitty population thing is kind of handy and usable for us to understand what's going on because it's telling us some of what our problem is right now. Right now, we're okay. We've got plenty of workers. We actually have almost double the workers we need right now for the current amount of people. We've got enough housing for 90. We've got 85 people. The stability in this sector is 12, which is good. This number as we play is going to go down, which starts to become one of the things that you have to be kind of, well, babysitting, and we're going to look at that as we go. We also get a few other numbers as far as, you know, like total welcomed people, total amount of people that have come in, total amount of people that have died. Of course, homeless, starving, injured, and hospitalized. These two right here are a problem because we don't have a hospital. So before we get excited and build any more stuff in here, we'd better get a hospital up. So let's see, hospital. We're going to do a few things. One of the things I did change is I turned this, whatever this thing is, the mess hall sideways so that we could kind of redirect this road when we need to redirect this road. There is a sector over here that we're going to be able to unlock eventually, and I don't want to kind of waste a lot of the space. One of the things that is very interesting about this game is that you're going to have to kind of be decent about your space management, which is why I wanted to clear out this area right here. One of the other things that I have to remember, and I'm going to have to remember, is that I have this entire back wall here, or front wall. It's kind of hard to tell which side is which as far as, you know, what side of the ship is what. I'm assuming, like, we could go outside and look. You can't see where the actual bays are, but like you could go outside and kind of figure out which direction you're looking at as far as what's the front and the back. But just understand that for anything that goes on a wall, you can put it on this wall or you can put it on this wall. And the interesting thing about that is, and I think I can get it to show if I dig into the space or the other docking bay, is if you see those little red dots underneath that sign, you can't place anything on that wall over there, which limits you to the amount of things that you can put on the wall on this side, which is why I wanted to clean this area up because we may end up starting to put something over here fairly soon. But for now, we have this. Okay, moving forward, now that that has all been said, we did a new science ship and a new this guy, or what is a cargo ship. Cargo ship is going to be back and forth doing a few things. It should be collecting the parts from the moon over here, I believe. If we let him go, there he goes. It's going to go get that, and the science ship is going to collect the science for us. So it's time to actually start thinking about science and where we want to put science. I would really love to kind of clean some of this up, and I think for the moment we're going to go ahead and put one more of these down so that we can kind of clean this back area up, because a lot of the really big things that we're going to get to play with, like the science factory, the tech lab, is a pretty sizable thing, and it's going to take up a lot of room. And unfortunately for right now, we're going to have to build it wherever we can manage to make it fit. And if I can get rid of this back side or these little junk stockpiles cleaned up, especially like maybe this one or these two, we would be a little bit better off. I think for the moment, however, we're going to put our science... I'm going to build another one. I want to get rid of that pile so I can make this road. Eventually, we're going to be rebuilding almost all of this in here, to include even moving these. So let's see. Can we get another one of those up and running? I know it's kind of silly. We'll be removing these as we, can. So let's let them build that real fast. Technology and upgrades. Yes, science. Science is about the whole fun part about the other thing about this game. We do have a technology tree that once we get the science lab opened up, we can start requesting or doing science. So you should have cleared out. You're going to be next. One of the things that I did miss is that if I want to just completely clear something out, I don't have to go into the actual pile and hit harvest or whatever. If you just click on the icon, it will automatically do it for you. Go. So let's dump that pile so we can build this road. All right, we've gotten all the science from the moon. The science is automatically added to your I guess your pool of science. It's automatically added. The ship does not have to return. And I think since that would make a nice 3, we'll do that. And then we can have them deconstruct this and this. Well, I can deconstruct this. Go, and then this can go too, and then we'll let them build that. That's just trying to keep some of a semblance of how this kind of things work. As we move forward, we're going to be probably redesigning some of this. I mean, for right now, the majority of everything we're going to need is going to be coming from that thing. Eventually, the majority of what our stuff is going to need is going to be coming from other sectors or from this sector in of itself. So we're going to try to, I promise I'm going to try to keep it reasonably clean. So, all right, science. We need to get hot on science. We're going to build science probably somewhere right around in here. Let's see what we can do for that. So it's under factories. And again, we have to kind of pay attention to what's going on. What I would love is to be able to build it over there, but we can't. Even if that road was where it needed to be, I don't believe I could build it underneath that sign. We can build it over here, but again, that's a nice wall. Let's see where we can sneak it in. I guess probably gonna be, for right now, right underneath everything, centered on that sign, if we can do that. So, like, right... Almost could do it if that one pile wasn't in the way. Just do that for right now. And that's going to take a fair amount of stuff. They're going to build a little bit of build a building. They're going to build a science factory, which this thing is going to be able to produce science for us over time, as well as allow us to have access to that tab right there. So once that's built, we can do some things.
Administrator.
Alrighty.
I have an incoming transmission from DOLOS' head of medicine, Dr. Abhinav Munshi.
Here we go.
Greetings, Administrator. I'm Dr. Abhinav Munshi, DOLOS expert in compartmentalism and medicine, and a member of the Marduk Council. I'm glad to finally meet you, even in this digital manner. Your psychological test results were quite impressive.
Why, thank you.
My friend and colleague, Philip Stanford, couldn't be here today, so I will take the role of introducing you to the final stages of the VOLHES engine integration. Before we get into that, however, we would like you to complete the testing station's exploration and enhancement capabilities. You'll then be able to begin researching the EVA airlock and assess its compatibility with the Tiqqun's core systems. I hope that the work of our team will ensure that you're equipped to deal with most situations you encounter up there. Before I leave you, Stanford would like me to remind you that space is a far less fanciful and forgiving environment than science fiction would have us believe. It would be wise to remember that.
Alrighty. We can close that out. I'm going to go ahead while we're at it and dump that. We're just going to dump this stockpile for right now. There's no reason to have it. I guess we could start pulling some of the other things out. All right, so before we get really excited and before anything else starts happening, there's one more thing we need to go, well, a couple of more things. Before I start fooling with this, out here on the map, now we do have a science ship right now that can be doing other things. We can either send it to Mars, or we could send it to Saturn, or we could do a couple other things. For right now, what I want to do, I think, is we're going to send it over to Mars, because there is a thing over here that we can do, and that is going to be talking with a UN ship or a UN facility on Mars is having a problem. They've submitted an official request to Dolos for aid. So let's go send this over there and let them go figure out what's going on. What you want to do when you're playing, for one, there's several games we're doing here right now. We're gathering science, we're doing kind of diplomatical, silly stuff here and there, and we want to make sure that we're collecting everything that we can collect with this. Right now, we're not going to be building a mining ship because there's, as far as I remember, at least from the demo, until I get told, I'm not building a mining ship to come out here. So there's the out here in the solar system, or out here in the whatever system map that you're going to be playing with. There's this game that you need to play, and then in here there's also this game that you need to play, as well as this game that you need to play. So the VOL engine, once we get to that point, is going to require us an EVA airlock, which is going to allow us access to the outside of the Tiqqun. And once we do a little bit of silly stuff like this, this is when it starts to get a little bit interesting with the hull integrity, something we're going to see fairly soon. The other problem that we're seeing right now is, if we notice, we have 3 power left. 3. Which means as soon as we build one more really large thing, we're going to break our power. So we're going to have to pay attention to that once we get a little bit further into this. What we can do, however, is we can shut certain things off before we have a problem. But it looks like we have an event. Let's see what it is. Let's see. Administrative reports are being served that the blah, 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 blah. Optimization protocols aboard Tiqqun. They indicate the crew members are being overworked, although Dolos employment contracts make it clear that a high degree of flexibility is required. This situation begin to take toll on its morale. It would be pragmatic to deploy additional crew members or reduce the number of concurrently active workplaces. We're going to do this, what I know I need to do right now, which is I need more people. There's no way we're going to be able to get through this. I'm going to look at it like this. I know I'm going to need a lot more people, and the more people we can have working on this space station right now, the better off we're going to be. I can tell them, go to work. You know, I can just tell them, just get off your lazy butts and go do something. I know for a fact we're going to need a lot more people. Just in of that fact, that science lab that we just put down takes 30 people to keep it happy. We need a lot more people. So I'm just going to have them send more people to us. And like I said, this is kind of one of the fun parts about with this game, again, is it's going to tell you how certain things are going to work. So now if we look in here, our workers are not very happy because we actually are under by 2. So the number is the amount of workers we currently have, and this number right here is the amount of workers we actually need. The reason why this number is different is because of the fact that we have this many people in here running these 2 ships. So we have the what is it, like there's, I forget how many people are on that thing, like 3 or 4 or 5 or 2 or 3, whatever. All those people that we just lost, you know, that aren't part of that 85 are on those 2 ships right now. So yes, we want them to give us some more stuff, and we can look at this right here. What's going to be very interesting as we go along, and it's the game will let you know when you're kind of messing up. You just have to kind of pay attention. Most of this is going to be very simple, normal, as we said in the last episode. So we're going to pay attention. Normally, you'd have a little bit of an icon down here or an icon over in this sector telling you you have problems. This is also going to cause a little bit of a problem as we go along, because people will start to be a little mad at us if we don't manage to keep them, again, happy. So let's do a little bit of that. We'll get some more people in, which is going to require us to make a few more houses. And I think the houses, again, we're just going to kind of line them up in this corner. Eventually, we're going to get some bigger houses. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some bigger houses. I hope we're going to get some bigger houses. Those houses are terrible. And I want a road all the way to the back like that. So we're going to build a road all the way to the back, all the way down to that corner so that we have access. Every one of these little like entrance ways right here, there's an entrance way there and there and there and there, all have, well, those are access to this next sector that we'll be able to unlock, so I don't want to block them all totally. And I really probably should have built a road right straight through there, but we'll play with that as the time comes. So we're going to need at least access for another 20 people. Let's go ahead before they even show up. Hello, let me have my thing. Yo, what happened? There we go. That was interesting. Population, I'm going to put down at least one more house, maybe two for right now. And then once they get that road built, they'll be all right. Let's go ahead and move forward. We should be doing science. So the science building, this tech lab, we're only ever able to make one. We can only ever make one tech lab, so we're going to be stuck with this, but as we move, we can upgrade it. So let's look at the science that we have right now. We'll pause the game so that nothing happens behind us. The first major thing that we probably really seriously need to unlock is going to be some of these little toys over here. So the probe launcher or the EVA airlock. In order to be able to augment anything on the outside of the Tiqqun, we have to unlock that. So that's why they give us a bit of science. So the first thing we're going to do before we do anything else is we're going to go ahead and get that started. That's going to take 2.5 cycles. It's just going to sit there and work slowly. Now, there's some interesting thing here as we notice all of these other ones with the check marks. Those were unlocked when we came in. This is going to allow us to upgrade things as we work through. So you have to make choices as far as what you have readily available versus the science that you currently have. Given the fact that your science tech lab is only going to this early game make 1 bit of science per minute or per cycle, per minute per cycle. This is not a per minute game. What's interesting, once again, is as you unlock some of your technology tiers or the rings, you can increase that production. And probably one of the first things that I suggest is once you get everything in this ring unlocked and you're started into this ring, you go do that. So we'll get there to that point. We're going to have quite a bit of science in this first little bit, so we'll just kind of play with whatever we can play with. Let them go to work. And actually, we'll speed it up a little bit. All right. That should have taken care of the homeless problem. As we can see, the science meter here is telling us what we're doing as far as how that is going to be. And as soon as we get the EVA airlock, we're going to put it down.
Ship has arrived at its destination.
Well, actually, no, we're going to go to Mars and see what's going on. Let's kick this back down to slow. And what have you got for me? Alrighty, so the UN has established a facility on Mars. Your crew are currently lacking the materials required to repair a critical fault in their oxygen supply system. They have submitted an official request to DOLOS for aid. Well, we could do this, or we could do this, or we could do this. One of the two. I'm gonna hate to say it, I'm gonna be really interested in this one right here. So we're gonna give them that one. Now, we're going to have to send that much stuff over there, which is going to be a little spooky because I got to send that thing all the way over to there and back, but that's fine. There's a reason I want more science, because I want to unlock as much technology as I can before we leave the system. This is okay. You can give them that. It's all right, whatever. I hate to know for a fact I'm going to be swimming in this stuff eventually, so it's not a big deal. Let's get out of there, and we'll let them go do the work. So our little bitty, let's come in here. He's going to jump in. They're going to load up a bunch of stuff, and then it's going to send it all over there. And all right, so we now have our EVA airlock constructed and figured out. This is where the thing comes, as I was stating, about space. So space is an interesting thing when it comes to what you want to do as far as organization. There are multiple things that are this big. So we can see like that right there. There are 3 different things that are going to be coming along here fairly shortly. The other one is the probe launcher, that all are going to require access to an outside wall, and all are going to be this stinking big. Now, in reality, what I would love to do when the thing first starts, and I think the next time I start this game over, I'm going to destroy this thing, and I'm going to move it over almost against to the wall so that I can have a little bit more space. This run, what we're going to do is, I think what I want to do Again, anything that's on the outside, it's a good idea to try to keep them fairly close to your stockpiles, which is the reasoning why I wanted to clear this up a little bit. And I know for a fact I can stuff 2 more things over here, and for right now, space is going to be at a premium. Let's do this and do this. And then we're going to build the EVA airlock as close to that as I can. So that's why I want to move you. Get out of there. Always deconstruct with the building dismantling tool. That way you make sure you get all of the stuff that it took to build it back. All right, let's get our EVA airlock up. That's good. Go. And since we're there, we can build a road all the way to that edge there. And then while we're at it, we'll have them harvest that one so that I can continue that road over there as well. You can kind of build on a grid pattern if you work at it carefully. So we're going to kind of build on a grid pattern as these guys, well, they do the stuff that they need to do. And I guess we're going to have plenty of things that need to be harvested. So go ahead and do that as well. How are we doing out here? He's almost there.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Now, there is nothing wrong with helping people out in the beginning. You can do whatever you want to do, but that got us 10 extra science points for something that after we leave this system should be reasonably easy to get. So oxygen supply has been repaired. Everybody should be happy. End the data listening protocol. We're going to let them collect all of their science. And then we're going to grab them and tell them to go to the other side of the system.
Administrator, due to insufficient levels of electricity generation,
there it is.
Sector 1's power demand has overloaded.
Now let's pause the game. What's going on right now is pretty bad because we've just destroyed some of our people's trust. Now they're happy because they got, you know, I don't know what Almighty Dolos buff is, but they're not happy with us near anymore because we've managed to remove the power in the area. And again, this is a thing that you have to pay attention to. Unfortunately, we're unable to solve that problem because of the fact that, well, this thing took up so much power. We need this thing to be able to fix the outside of the ship so that we can actually build anything. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come into this tech lab and do this. It will automatically reinstall or turn the power back up if we happen to have a, well, basically that's it. You got to figure out how to keep the power on. So certain unimportant things, like right now I can probably kill the power on this and I can kill the power on that. That'd get us a little bit more power, but if we look in here, this one still requires 12. So we want to keep core systems running, like our mess hall, our you know, infirmary, and at least some of the food production or whatever else is going on at all times. So if I hit the button, we should be happy.
Recommend that you construct an external solar panel to boost overall electrical output.
Yep, I know. Would have been nice if you would have let me do that before I did this, but that's okay. We can work on that as we go. We need to turn this one back on, I believe. We're going to have to watch that number. And of course, now that we have an EVA airlock, there's a thing that they don't tell you right now, which will happen in probably very soon. But this thing is there mainly for 2 things. Let's take a look at it. Out here, there's a hull repair deactivated, hull repair activated. As the Tiqqun lives in various places, its hull is going to deteriorate. It's going to require materials plus an EVA airlock to repair it. Now, as far as I know right now, the only thing that we should be seriously having a problem with, I think, there shouldn't be too much going on because we don't have a problem. Yeah, there's no removal of anything per cycle, no removal for anything from the depletion, and yeah, that's kind of a thing. If you notice, we got a bunch of little ships now flying around the outside of the Tiqqun. This is how we're going to be able to build the engine, and this is how we're going to build, right now, a set of solar panels. So they're going to load up a bunch of stuff into that airlock in here. We can see it. And then we have a building. That little bar right there is the building portion of what's going on. And somewhere on the outside of this thing, we should start to see little solar panels start to grow. There they are. There we go. That's a nice chunk of power, and that got us another quest completed. I'm going to hang off putting any more on it for right now, again, because we're kind of short on, well, we will be kind of short on the polymers. All right, so external construction, again, we can look on this. It's basically click on this, make sure you have the availability of the EVA airlocks to do this. The fun point to note is, as we open more sectors, I should say, fun point to note is, period, you can build as many of these things on any one of these sector walls as you can fit. They don't care how many you have, and actually it's probably a really good idea to build at least one of these per sector that you have open. But we should be at least able to go back to work making science. And I want to start draining, let's drain these ones right here, and you can go back to work too. Very good. All right, let's go check out our science ship. A signature trace from an EKP system has been detected near Saturn. EKP technology is exclusive property of DOLOS, but records indicate that the company has not deployed any missions to this sector. The signature will soon enter the atmosphere of Saturn. I think I'm going to, let's see, the teams will analyze the residues and verify the signature's origin. Contact him before me be located and investigate. Let's just, for now, we'll do that one. For now, it's the only one we're going to be able to do. Some of these, I think, as we go along, we'll be able to do some more things. Now, with all of the science that we should have been wasting this whole time, because I completely spaced it out because we had to shut this down, let's see what else we can do. So I think probably would be a good idea to either do a probe launcher or an insect farm. And I think getting an insect farm up would be a good idea because that's going to be our first way of producing food. So let's let that go to work and then see what we have going on here. What are you building? You shouldn't need to do anything. I actually think I should probably be able to just shut that off for right now, although I want to leave it on. Just leave it on. Won't matter. We can theoretically disable that right now at any time and get some more power back, but I don't want to try to do anything too much. So you're going to do this. We should have plenty of science to do at least the last two things that are in this ring. Yeah, we're going to do the last two things that are in this ring, and then we'll see what we get.
A science ship team has completed a task.
All right, two things happen at the same time. We got science ship and we got the insect capability to make food finally. Now this is a fairly sizable thing. It's a reasonably decent sized machine, and I think for probably right now we're just going to kind of build this direction over here. They do fit right in here barely. I actually could sneak that back direction, but I kind of want to, like I said, for right now save these walls. We could actually put one right there. That wouldn't be a dumb idea. Let's get one, just one down for right now. How many people do we have extra at this point? I should look. We have, what is that, 14-ish people? How many people does this thing take? I forget now. Yeah, let's just go ahead and build one of those for right now. Let them get to work on that so that we can kind of have a very small amount of food. This is going to make about one food. I think it's one food per cycle. Let's take a look. All right, so this is going to make one food per cycle. So every time we see that little thing go around, we're going to get one more food added to our supply. The interesting part about this is that you need to make at least, well, right now I believe it's one food feeds 10 crew members, 10 food is required. So we're not capable of being able to keep up with the current population that we have. Which will get better as we move on forward. We're going to continue to kind of get some more food from the Ushambi or whatever that ship's name is. But we're going to need at least, you basically how much you need to know is like this makes one, this is going to read one, this is going to need 10 per 5 cycles, which means we need to make 10 food in 5 cycles. This is going to make 5 food in 5 cycles, which means we need 2 of these to keep up with this. Right now, we're not worried about it because we should have enough food to be able to do things, but it's something to kind of get after as soon as you can. Let's go talk to this science ship that is out here. Prototype rocket sent by the UN seems to be using a variation of EKP. We have stripped it down and recovered the schematics, meaning we get a little bit of science. Nice. Okay, so they're going to pick up some more science. As you can see, my goal here is to try to get as much science as I possibly can before we end this general area of running. So we'll get that done. And then I think what we'll do for the end of the episode today, since we're right there and we're about done, let's do it, is let's go ahead and get the VOL engine built. And hit that button. Again, what it's going to do is they're going to load all 100 of the alloy into that EVA airlock. And as soon as they get done with that, they'll start building a few things. And there it is. Alrighty, we have an incoming transmission. We're going to take that incoming transmission at the beginning of next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.